Hello and welcome to another Arkeys video and to a new 2 million credit time trial challenge on Gran Turismo 7. This time we are at Interlagos in the 2016 Aston Martin Vulcan on racing soft tires. This is my first impressions run. I did this on Thursday morning. I took a fairly chilled approach, took a break now and then, and got in a decent time to begin with, and I was actually hoping that I could improve a bit more in the evening after work, but that turned out to not be the case. Apparently I already hit my limit, but this is the highlights from my time trial session, and if you are enjoying the content, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. It is highly appreciated. Now let's jump into this one for the first time, and we're jumping in 50 minutes after the time trial opened, picking up the prize for the St. Croix time trial. I did better than I expected on that one, and now we're jumping into this one. But first we are going to watch a replay of a fast driver, and then we are ready to jump in by ourselves. Let's go. We are starting our first lap, but no, not like this. We are running deep into turn 1, so we are going to restart this one. So coming into turn 1, and using a bit of first gear, I'm trying to go straight up to third gear and not really getting a good line through these corners. Short shifting a bit because this car already feels a bit snappy in the high revs, and I'm braking too hard and maybe too late, just scrubbing over the front tire, so went deep into that corner and going a bit sideways. The car really has a lot of power in the high end of the rev band, so be careful with that. We are crawling our way around the first lap. I'm too aggressive on the throttle, forcing understeer and getting a poor exit, but we are finishing our first lap in a 1:28.755, and I am about to mess up turn 1. I got on the grass. I don't really know what I did there. We are going again. I will go through some brake markers when we get a bit further into this video. I will put in a timestamp if you just want to jump to that, but let's just get a bit more used to this combo so that the driving isn't completely off when we look at brake markers. We are coming into this corner really fast, using a bit of second gear just to let the car coast in, but exiting in third gear. I'm going to miss the first hairpin big time on this time around. I'm short shifting to third gear coming out of this corner to prevent the car from going into complete oversteer, and this is also a place where the car can really snap on you. I am improving my exit on the final corner though, and that exit alone did save me, even though I messed up the hairpin at the middle of the lap. We are improving a tiny bit, and I'm not going to miss the hairpin as much as on the previous lap this time. I did still miss it a bit. I'm just trying to keep the car steady through this long corner to prevent any oversteer suddenly appearing. Unfortunately, I'm not doing the best job of the final corner. I'm running in too deep, too early, so that gave me a poor exit, but we are down to a 1:28.125. I forgot to brake for this corner, so we are going to park the car and go and have a look. We've been driving for 12 minutes and we are doing okay so far. According to the odometer, this is the lap immediately after we went out to have a look, and we are going to improve a big chunk this time. I'm doing a better job of the center S's. I am short shifting every time I'm changing direction of the car. Still be careful when you are up to fourth gear. You can get some understeer, so you might need to be careful on the throttle input, and exiting in third gear on this one. And now we're coming through this fast corner, and maybe no, I'm still using third gear. You can use third and that might be the fastest. You can also use a bit of fourth for a bit more stability. Now through the hairpins, I am still trying to exit this one in third gear. You do sacrifice a bit of speed because the power is in the high end of the rev band, but you get more stability, so that is something you will have to judge for yourself. I'm also trying to get up to fourth gear for a bit more stability here, and I am using third gear for exiting the final corner. It is faster if you can exit in second gear, but it is more sketchy. We're down to a 127.6, so that was a big chunk. We're 18 minutes in and I'm going to take a break. And for distraction, I did the Eiger Nordwand circuit experience before I went back into this one. I hadn't touched that track ever, so it was about time. And we are back and we're going to look at brake markers. My first marker is the 100 board. You might be braking shortly after it, but with my reaction times, I'm using the 100 board. And yeah, getting up to third gear, and as we are turning into this corner up to fourth gear, you can see the car nearly snapped on me. And now we're coming down towards the next marker, and there are several things you can look at, but I was mostly looking at the end of the fence. That's not the end, but where the fence is curving inwards. That is a nice big marker for that corner. Still getting a bit of a slide on there. And as we're coming up here, I'm looking at the 100 board, but it's past the 100 board. It's between the 100 board and that Marshall stand there. I am trying to exit in fourth gear now, and the start of that tire mark is a good warning for getting onto the brakes. And you also want to brake a bit at the start of that curb, or the end of that green bit before the stripe curb coming up. And roughly just before the end of the tarmac on the right hand side is my marker for braking for this hairpin. And here it's all about trying to prevent the car from going into complete snap mode. And here I'm looking at the end of the curb, but I'm braking roughly in the middle between that and the 50 board, maybe even a bit closer to the curb. And that's the thing, I often need a bit earlier brake markers. I'm not that young anymore, but anyway, we are down to a 127.528, and the lap immediately after we improved again. We're coming into turn 1, braking at the 100 board and getting the car slowed down using a tiny bit of first gear, but fairly quickly up to third gear, and we are going to go up to fourth gear, and you can lift a tiny bit and get that nice tiny bit of rotation on the power instead of just understeer if you get the balance of the car just right. And I'm beginning to feel a bit more comfortable in the infield section as well. Braking just before the end of the tarmac on the right hand side. That might have been a bit early, but we made it out of there. Yeah, and up to fourth gear. I am going to be a bit deep into the final corner. That is going to cost me. You can see the way the Ghost is running away, but a 127.435. And this is a fresh attempt shortly after. We are coming through the center S's, cutting as much as I dare on that first apex. And using that inside curb, in fact, a bit to get the car to rotate. It can be a bit sketchy. This was a massive blunder into that hairpin. That definitely cost me some time, but we are improving a tiny bit down to a 127.399, and then I touched the grass, so we are parking the car. We've been driving for 30 kilometers on this second run, but then I got stuck for another 60 kilometers before this bigger improvement happened, which also turned out to be the last improvement so far. Into the center S's, using a tiny bit of first just for rotation, quickly up to third gear and up to fourth on this second part of the S's, lifting a bit to make the car rotate, and then back on the power, using a bit of second just to rotate the car, but up to third on the exit. Now we are looking for in between the 100 board and the Marshall stand. For this corner we are going down to third gear, coasting in. I am using fourth on the exit for a bit more stability. It might be a tiny bit slower, but it is certainly safer. And down to first just for rotation, and using a bit of second, and then up to third gear. If you can use second gear for a bit and get a tiny bit up into the ref range, that is a good idea. I'm rather quickly up to third gear and also fourth gear. I found this corner very sketchy to use the high revs without spinning out. And you can also use second gear up the hill, but I'm using third gear. That's safer, but it's not the fastest way to do it. Either way, we're down to 126.957. That was a big improvement in one chunk. and I was being fairly optimistic that I could go back in the evening and get one more tiny improvement in, but instead I spent the evening just trying to match my time. I suddenly got completely stuck in between using high gears for safety or trying to use the high revs for more speed, and I got close to my time, but I never beat it. I need to study this more if I want to. Maybe I'll just leave this as is. And anyway, we are getting to the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it entertaining, maybe even somewhat useful. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.